What if your worst heartbreak didn't come from a breakup, but from realizing the person you loved never truly existed? Welcome to Narrated by Abi, where true stories pull back the curtain on the moments that change everything. If you believe truth is more powerful than fiction, please hit that subscribe button now. Because this story, it starts on a plane and ends with a lie that changed everything. Ada slumped into the unforgiving economy seat, the groan of the aircraft a dull echo of her own internal turmoil. 2 weeks in London, meant to be a rejuvenating escape, had instead become a crucible of stress, leaving her more frayed than when she departed Lagos. Every delayed train, every overpriced meal, every forced smile at distant relatives had chipped away at her resolve, leaving her yearning for the familiar chaos of home. But even that small comfort was denied. The universe, it seemed, had a perverse sense of humor. The man in front of her, a hulking figure whose shoulders seemed to span the entire width of his seat, had, with a casual disregard for personal space, reclined his seat to its absolute maximum. Ada, already feeling the oppressive squeeze of the cramped cabin, found herself trapped. Her knees, already protesting the lack of legroom, were now firmly wedged against the unyielding plastic shell of his seat. And then came the meal service. A tiny tray, laden with what was optimistically labeled chicken and rice, was presented, and Ada's heart sank. Being large-busted, the reclined seat meant the tray was practically pressed against her chest, making any attempt to eat a contortionist's nightmare. "Excuse me," she began, her voice a tightrope walk between politeness and exasperation. "Would you mind putting your seat up just a little? I can't eat." The man grunted, a sound that vibrated through the seat back, and then, with a deliberate, slow motion that spoke volumes of his indifference, he reclined his seat even further. A sharp, dismissive hiss escaped his lips, a sound that ignited a spark of fury in Ada's chest. Her jaw tightened. She was about to unleash a torrent of carefully chosen words, words that would undoubtedly make him regret his actions, when a hand, surprisingly gentle, touched her arm. "Don't bother," a calm voice said from the middle seat. Ada turned, her eyes blazing, ready to direct her anger at this new, unexpected interruption. Coker, a man with kind eyes and a reassuring presence, met her gaze. For a moment she saw her own reflection in his eyes, a woman on the verge of an uncharacteristic outburst. The anger, so potent just moments before, began to dissipate, replaced by a wave of self-awareness. She was Ada, not this seething ball of frustration. She was better than this. She wouldn't let a rude stranger dictate her mood, not after everything else that had gone wrong. With a quiet dignity that surprised even herself, Ada unbuckled her seatbelt. She squeezed past Coker, her movements precise and deliberate, and began to walk towards the back of the plane. Her eyes scanned the rows, searching for an escape, a sanctuary from the cramped, stifling environment. And there, almost like a mirage, were 2 empty seats, bathed in the soft glow of the cabin lights. A small victory, but a victory nonetheless. She settled into one, stretching her legs with a sigh of pure, unadulterated relief. The tension in her shoulders began to ease, and for the first time since boarding, she felt a semblance of peace. She closed her eyes, letting the gentle hum of the engines lull her into a state of quiet contemplation, a stark contrast to the turbulent emotions that had consumed her just moments before. This was her space, her moment of respite, and she savored it, knowing that soon she would have to return to the reality of her original seat for the descent. But for now, there was only comfort and the quiet promise of a new beginning. When Ada opened her eyes, Coker was there, a faint smile playing on his lips. He had followed her, a silent testament to his earlier intervention. "Better?" he asked, his voice a low, comforting rumble. Ada nodded, a genuine smile finally gracing her features. "Much," she admitted, feeling a blush creep up her neck. It was rare for her to be so visibly flustered, and even rarer for a stranger to witness it. They fell into easy conversation, the kind that felt less like an introduction and more like a reunion. They talked about London, about Nigeria, about their careers and their dreams. Coker was a charming conversationalist, his wit sharp and his observations insightful. Ada found herself laughing, truly laughing, for the first time in weeks. He spoke of his work in the tech industry, his passion for innovation, and his desire to contribute to Nigeria's burgeoning digital landscape. Ada, in turn, shared her experiences as a marketing executive, her love for creative campaigns, and her frustration with the corporate bureaucracy she often encountered. The hours melted away, punctuated by the rhythmic hum of the aircraft and the occasional clinking of cutlery from the galley. They discovered a shared love for obscure jazz music, a mutual disdain for reality television, and a surprisingly similar outlook on life's big questions. It was as if they had known each other for years, the initial awkwardness of strangers replaced by a comfortable familiarity. As the pilot announced their descent into Lagos, a pang of disappointment shot through Ada. She hadn't realized how much she had enjoyed Coker's company, how effortlessly he had managed to distract her from her earlier frustrations. They exchanged numbers, a casual gesture that felt laden with unspoken possibility. Upon landing, the chaos of Murtala Muhammad International Airport enveloped them. Coker, however, remained unruffled. A company driver, impeccably dressed, was waiting for him, holding a sign with his name. "Can I drop you off?" Coker offered, his eyes twinkling. "It's on the way." Ada, still reeling from the unexpected connection, readily accepted. The ride home was a continuation of their airborne conversation, punctuated by the vibrant sights and sounds of Lagos. As the car pulled up to her gate, they exchanged a final, lingering glance. "It was a pleasure, Ada," Coker said, his smile warm and genuine. "I hope we can do this again." Ada, her heart doing a little flutter, simply nodded, a silent promise hanging in the humid Lagos air. She watched as the car pulled away, a sense of hopeful anticipation bubbling within her. Perhaps, she thought, this holiday hadn't been a complete disaster after all. Over the next few weeks, their initial connection blossomed into something more profound. Daily phone calls became the norm, each conversation a deeper dive into their lives, their aspirations, and their vulnerabilities. They discovered a shared passion for art, spending hours discussing their favorite painters and sculptors. Coker introduced Ada to the vibrant Lagos art scene, taking her to galleries and exhibitions she never knew existed. Ada, in turn, shared her love for literature, recommending books that sparked lively debates and insightful discussions. Their conversations were effortless, filled with laughter and a comfortable silence that spoke volumes. Their dates were always in open, public spaces, bustling restaurants, serene parks, and lively cultural events. Ada, living with her family, preferred to keep their meetings outside her home, a subtle boundary she maintained without explanation. Coker, ever understanding, never pressed the issue. He introduced her to a few of his friends, a diverse group of professionals who welcomed her warmly into their circle. Ada observed him in these social settings, noting his easy charm, his genuine interest in others, and the respect he commanded. He was everything she had hoped for in a partner: intelligent, kind, and genuinely engaging. 6 months into their relationship, Ada felt a sense of contentment she hadn't experienced in years. Coker had become an integral part of her life, a steady presence who brought joy and stability. She found herself looking forward to their calls, their dates, and the quiet moments they shared. She was falling in love, slowly and irrevocably, and the feeling was exhilarating. She believed she had found her person, someone who understood her, cherished her, and made her feel truly seen. The memories of her disastrous London holiday and the rude passenger on the plane faded into a distant, almost humorous memory. Life, it seemed, had a way of balancing itself out, and Coker was the beautiful equilibrium she had been searching for. One lazy Saturday afternoon, as they lounged on Ada's plush sofa, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the soft strains of jazz, Coker made a casual remark that would shatter Ada's carefully constructed world. "You know," he mused, a thoughtful expression on his face, "I'm the kind of guy who would have married early." Ada, nestled comfortably beside him, her head resting on his shoulder, chuckled softly. "Oh really? And why didn't you, Mr. Early Marriage?" she teased, her voice light and playful. She expected a humorous anecdote, a tale of youthful folly or missed opportunities. What she got instead was a bombshell. Coker shifted, a subtle tension entering his posture. He took a deep breath, and then the words tumbled out, each one a hammer blow to Ada's heart. "Because I am married, Ada. I have 2 children." The world tilted. The jazz music once soothing became a discordant cacophony. The aroma of coffee turned bitter. Ada pulled away, her eyes wide with disbelief, her mind struggling to process the words. Married? 2 children? The man she had fallen in love with, the man who had brought so much joy and stability into her life, was a married man. He began to weave a tale, a carefully constructed narrative designed to elicit sympathy and understanding. His wife, he claimed, was distant, cold, emotionally unavailable. Their marriage was a hollow shell, a mere formality, and they were on the verge of divorce. He painted himself as a victim, trapped in a loveless union, yearning for genuine connection. "I've never met a woman like you, Ada," he murmured, his voice laced with what sounded like genuine regret. "It feels like I'm being given a new chance at happiness, a chance to finally be truly seen and loved." Ada listened, her mind reeling. Devastation washed over her, a cold, suffocating wave. The past 6 months, filled with laughter, shared dreams, and burgeoning love, now felt like a cruel deception. Yet, amidst the pain, a flicker of hope, a desperate need to believe him, ignited within her. She wanted to believe his story, to cling to the possibility that their connection was real, that he was truly a good man caught in a bad situation. After a long, agonizing silence, Ada finally spoke, her voice hoarse. "I can't be in a relationship with a married man, Coker. That's not who I am." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "But if you're truly on the verge of divorce and you're serious about resolving things, then we can be friends while you sort things out." She gave him the benefit of the doubt, a testament to the depth of her feelings and her inherent optimism. She wanted to believe in the man she thought she knew, the man who had so effortlessly charmed his way into her heart. She wanted to believe that their story wasn't over, that there was still a chance for the happiness he promised. Ada gave him the benefit of the doubt. She truly did. For weeks, she held on to the fragile hope that Coker would make good on his promise, that he would untangle himself from his past and emerge, finally, as the man she believed him to be. They continued to meet, though the easy intimacy had been replaced by a cautious distance. The laughter was still there, but it was tinged with an unspoken sadness, a constant reminder of the unresolved truth that hung between them. Then came the day that would irrevocably shatter her illusions. Coker, in a moment of casual oversight, used Ada's laptop to check his email, and in his haste, forgot to log out. Ada, working on her own tasks, saw the familiar Gmail tab open in his browser. A flicker of unease, then a surge of curiosity, warred within her. She knew she shouldn't look. Every fiber of her being screamed against invading his privacy. But then, a word, stark and undeniable, leaped out from the subject line of an unread email: "Sweetheart." Her breath hitched. The internal struggle was brief, brutal, and ultimately futile. Her finger, as if possessed by an external force, moved to the tab. She clicked, and there it all was. A romantic email, brimming with affection, addressed to his wife. It spoke of longing, of missing her and the children, of eagerly anticipating their return. It detailed updates on a business venture they were working on together, a shared future painted in vibrant, loving strokes. There was no mention of distance, no hint of coldness, no whisper of divorce. It was the email of a devoted husband, a loving father, a man deeply entwined with his family. Every word was a fresh stab to Ada's heart. The carefully constructed narrative Coker had woven, the tale of a distant wife and impending divorce, crumbled into dust. It all made sickening sense now. His vague references to his wife and children as team members or business partners, a clever, insidious way to acknowledge their existence without revealing the true nature of his relationship with them. He had spoken of them, yes, but always in a detached, professional tone, never with the warmth and intimacy that poured from this email. He hadn't lied by omission. He had lied by calculated misdirection, twisting the truth just enough to fit his deceitful narrative. The realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. She wasn't just a friend waiting for him to resolve his issues. She was the other woman, a pawn in his elaborate game of deception. The years she had spent with him, the emotions she had invested, the dreams she had dared to dream, all built on a foundation of lies. Ada didn't confront him. There was no dramatic showdown, no tearful accusations. The email had laid bare the truth with such brutal clarity that words felt superfluous. Instead, she began to slowly, almost imperceptibly, freeze him out of her life. Her replies to his messages became shorter, her availability for dates dwindled, and her once eager voice on the phone grew distant. He noticed, of course, and tried to bridge the growing chasm with concerned inquiries and attempts to rekindle their former intimacy. But Ada remained steadfast, a silent wall of polite indifference. The pain was too raw, the betrayal too deep for any kind of direct confrontation. She didn't owe him an explanation. He had already given her all the explanation she needed. She mourned, not just the relationship, but the year of her life she had so willingly, so trustingly invested in a lie. It was a profound grief, a loss of innocence and a shattering of her belief in his sincerity. Her 29th year, a milestone she had once anticipated with excitement, had been spent in the shadow of a deceiver. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow, leaving a metallic taste of regret in her mouth. She replayed conversations, searching for clues she had missed, red flags she had ignored. His evasiveness about his home, his carefully worded descriptions of his family, it all clicked into place, a mosaic of deception that had been hidden in plain sight. Slowly, painstakingly, Ada began to heal. She allowed herself to feel the anger, the hurt, the profound disappointment. But she also found a quiet strength in her resolve. She was not responsible for his choices, for his lies. She had acted with an open heart, with trust and sincerity. The fault lay squarely with him, the deceiver with the friendly facade, the man who had so skillfully crafted a narrative to suit his selfish desires. She was not foolish for believing him. She was simply a good person who had encountered a master manipulator. This realization was liberating. It allowed her to shed the burden of self-blame and embrace a renewed sense of self-worth. Ada emerged from the wreckage of the relationship, older, wiser, and undeniably stronger. The experience had left a scar, a permanent reminder of the fragility of trust, but it had also forged a resilience she hadn't known she possessed. She was 29. And while the year had been marked by a painful deception, it had also been a year of profound growth. She had learned a valuable lesson, one that would guide her in all future relationships. True happiness could only be built on a foundation of honesty, transparency, and unwavering respect. And she was finally ready to build that foundation, one truthful brick at a time. If Ada's journey spoke to something in you, you're not alone. Heartbreak doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that strength often comes from the most painful places. And tell us in the comments, what lesson did you learn from a relationship that broke you?